part 3, we will be using the timetable view mode editor. And let's go there now. This little icon here, timetable view. And this is the timetable view screens. On the top here you see the same driver icon that you added to the engine, and it has a drop down. And the only thing listed in there is us. The P in the parenthesis tells you it's the player train. As you add other engines and AI traffic, they will appear on this list as well. This large left window is just like the 2D map when you're driving. You can scroll your mouse wheel to zoom. And if you right click and drag, you can also move the map around. You also have the zoom buttons here if you don't want to use your mouse wheel or don't have one. And then this train icon will take us to our train. So when you add a bunch of AIs all over the place, you can select them with the drop down and then go to that train. But we only have the one now, so I can't really demonstrate it at this point. On the right side is where all your commands will be. You have this toolbar going across the top. The ones that are grayed out you can't use at the moment, and the other ones will show you the tooltips of what they are. Now we're going to take our train to Vinland. It's a small refinery spur down the tracks. So I'm going to scroll there, and you can see as we pass, as you zoom in, this is element ethanol. Then we'll be going through New Wadsworth, and Vinland is here, and it is on the opposite side of the tracks. So where I want us to end up is then Vinland Receiving 2, where we're going to drop off our tank or our hoppers. So the first command I'm going to put in is a drop off, and that's this here, as you can see, the little train with a red X. When you click it, the command goes into your command window, and you see there's red exclamation points here. That's because you haven't given it any information yet. By clicking on its icon again, another window opens up, and you get to set the location, which we want Vinland. So you scroll and find Vinland Receiving 2. And as you can see, a red path line has already been created for us. But we have to go back to the engine. So this icon here lets you pick the cars that you're going to drop off. Add rail vehicle to the consist. When you click it, everything lights up, and you can select the cars one by one. And as you see, it's not working. This is a new bug that was introduced with Train Simulator 2013. So at this point, we selected our siding, but we can't select the cars we want. So you exit, then reopen it, click your train again, and there's one car in. But we want more than one car, we want all 6. So you have to do this 6 times, or if you come in here and delete this, press the shift key and click on the train. See, I had to do it twice, I don't know why, but this is the quirky part of the editor. Now we have the whole train, including our engine, which is 2666, but we're not going to drop the engine off there, so you have to go in and manually delete the engine's number. This icon, rail vehicles group name, this is something new, and I still don't know what it is. Or this, the rail vehicles in task list. As I learn more information about these options, I will let you all know. And these are grayed out. This is the duration, which really has nothing to do with the drop off. Then you have a few options here. Handle off path. These can all be just left alone, but if you put a check mark in there and the engineer doesn't drive the exact path that you set up, then the game will error on him that he left the path after like 30 seconds of being off the path. So you want to just leave that alone. Consist order, if you check it, you're telling the engineer that whatever he does has to be done in that specific order. If you were doing a switching scenario and you picked up 3 or 4 different cars and you had that box checked, they would have to be picked up in the order that you designated them to. So you can kind of leave that open too until you start getting into technical scenarios. Operation order, it is checked, and that's telling us, if we move the window here, that everything in the operations window has to be done in sequence. If we add a few more things, then you'd have to go to Vinland receiving first, and then the next option, and the next option. And this arrow here is allowing reversing, and you always want to have that checked as well. Unless, of course, you're doing a special scenario that you don't want to allow reversing. And you have 3 box windows here for entering text. One is just a message. One is an achievement text successful. And one is for achievement text unsuccessful. So if this was just a message that you wanted to put up, you can just type it in here. But if you're doing an operation like a drop off or a pickup, then you want to put it into the achievement box, which ours will be basic. And you can type in here whatever you want. I like to have a communication with the conductor to the engine, but for the tutorial I'm just showing you that that's what you do. This means when you successfully drop the cars off, this message will pop up, and then you can add a failed. And this would show up in the brief if you failed to follow the operation. And these 3 buttons down here are not in use yet. There's something I'm assuming RSC is going to add to our scenario creating fun. Okay, now everything is good. Oh, and there's this performance here, I'll tell you about that. It's set at 75%, so it's expecting that we're going to succeed our work order at a 75% rate. This basically is used best for controlling AI traffic. If you would set it up to 100%, then the AI train is going to go exactly the speeds of the track that it's on. Knocking it down to 75 or 50 will slow it down to a slower speed by that percentage, and it'll help you control where they will go and when. It's the when part is the key point here. But as we get into the AI traffic, I'll explain this a little more. But it is on this window. It's on just about every operation window, all these functions, except for the cars possibly. Okay, so everything is done here that we need. We know where we're going. We know what we're doing. All the standard defaults are checked here. We added our messages, and that's it for that. Now at this point, we're going to add the final destination. You need this marker to end every scenario, and it's going to be the same, the Vinland receiving. Number 2. And everything here is grayed out, so you can't do anything except for the allow reversing. I don't know why it's still checked, but that's all you get. You can't enter anything else here. And now our whole path is now all set up. So at this point, since we have no errors displaying, click OK to get out of it and save. Sometimes when you try to save or do other things like release a train or something or close a window, it doesn't seem to want it to work. If you go out into the route area somewhere where there's nothing and just click once or twice, and then it'll clear up the focus on what you were doing previously where it seems to get stuck at. And then F2, there's no changes, so it took my original save. Sometimes you can get lost because you don't know what happened. So just click out there somewhere away from everything and you'll get your focus back. Okay, we have it saved, but we want to go back in. Now our path here is in blue and red. So what I do is I like to follow it. See here what happened? We got switched over. I do not want us to be going through the crossover. We should stay on the eastbound track. So if you scroll the map along a little ways, you find a destination marker that was applied to the route. And here we have element mainline eastbound. Well, as you can see, our path is going through the westbound. We want to be able to put AI traffic over there coming in the opposite direction. So I'm going to place a waypoint, and that's this little red flag here, waypoint. And then when you click it, you get the same operations window. But we have to find element main line. Eastbound. And that didn't work very well. So something happened and you don't know why. Take a look back at what you did. I put the waypoint after Vinland receiving. Excuse me. which that's not where we want it. On the left here is a click, is a box. You make a click. Now up here, these arrows lit up. You click the arrow up once, and we put the flag operation in the correct spot. Every time you add a new function, it's always going to go into the spot before the final destination, and you'll have to move it around just like I just did. Yeah, I did that on purpose. So now, as you can see, our red line is going through element main line eastbound and not the westbound track no more. And back here we didn't go through the crossover like the original dispatcher wanted us to. So we'll keep going down the road. We're still on the right, or eastbound. Okay, that's New Wadsworth. We're still on the right. Okay, now the dispatcher set us up okay. We're at Vinland and we're going to go through the crossover right next to it. Pull forward, and then we'll be reversing back, and it sets us all up. So we're good to go. And we're looking at 19 minutes according to the dispatcher. So at this point we could go back to our scenario properties, pin it, and our time, the duration, we can guess that it'll be 20 minutes, but if somebody drives a little slower than you do, it could be 25. And while I'm here, I see I made a spelling mistake, so I can fix that as well. So like I said, you just click on the screen and the windows disappear. And we're going to give her another save. Next, we're going to go through and place some AI traffic.